December 2008. Elon Musk stares at his bank account. $40 million left. 2 companies on life support. Tesla, weeks from bankruptcy. SpaceX, 3 rocket failures, no successful launches. Every advisor, every investor, every rational person says the same thing. Pick one company, save what you can, cut your losses. Musk makes a decision that defies every business rule, and it changes everything. Here's what nobody tells you about that moment. Musk wasn't just risking his money. He was risking his reputation, his family's future, and his sanity. Friends were staging interventions. His first wife divorced him. The media called him the next tech billionaire to go broke. But Musk had something most entrepreneurs don't have. Something that let him see opportunity where everyone else saw disaster. And in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that was. Because here's the crazy part. That same principle didn't just save those 2 companies. It built 5 companies worth over $400 billion combined. Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, Neuralink, The Boring Company. But wait until you hear what he almost did instead of starting Tesla. This will blow your mind. Let me take you back to 2002. Musk just sold PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion. He's 31 years old with $180 million in the bank. He could buy a yacht, retire to an island, invest in safe stocks and live like a king forever. Instead, he does something that makes his accountant quit. He starts researching electric cars. Not because he loves cars. He actually knew nothing about automotive manufacturing. He starts researching space exploration. Not because he's an aerospace engineer. NASA thought he was insane. So why would a successful internet entrepreneur risk everything on 2 industries with 90% failure rates? Here's where it gets interesting. Musk had developed what I call the purpose principle. And this isn't some feel-good motivation stuff. This is hardcore business strategy that guided every major decision for the next 20 years. The purpose principle has 3 levels, and Musk mastered all 3. But here's what's crazy. Most entrepreneurs never get past level 1. And that's why they fail. Level 1 is personal purpose. For Musk, it wasn't get rich or build cool companies. It was ensure humanity's long-term survival. Sounds dramatic, right? But watch how this played out. He believed humans needed to become a multi-planet species and transition to sustainable energy. Otherwise, we face existential risk from climate change or asteroid impacts. But here's where most entrepreneurs make their first critical mistake. They confuse personal purpose with personal gain. Let me show you the difference. When Larry Ellison built Oracle, his personal purpose was clear. Prove he was the best. Beat IBM. Dominate databases. That's ego-driven purpose. It works, but it has limits. When you're the biggest, what's next? And when Bill Gates built Microsoft, his personal purpose was a computer on every desk. That's impact-driven purpose. It extends beyond his personal success. Even after leaving Microsoft, this purpose continues driving his foundation work. Musk chose impact-driven purpose at the most expensive scale possible. Not just help people, save humanity. Most people would donate to charity for causes like this. Musk decided to build the companies. That's the difference between having a purpose and being driven by purpose. Level 2 is business purpose. Here's where the failure rate gets brutal. 90% of entrepreneurs describe their business purpose as we make X product or we provide Y service. That's not purpose, that's just describing what you do. Real business purpose answers a different question. What changes when your business exists? Tesla's business purpose wasn't making electric cars. Traditional automakers were already making electric cars. The EV one existed in the 1990s. Toyota had the Prius. Making electric cars wasn't revolutionary. Tesla's actual business purpose was accelerating the world's transition to sustainable transport. See the difference? Every decision follows from that purpose. When Tesla released their patents in 2014, competitors thought they were insane. You just gave away your competitive advantage. But look at it through the purpose lens. More companies making electric cars accelerates the transition to sustainable transport. Competition serves the purpose. Musk celebrated when Mercedes and BMW launched electric vehicles. SpaceX's business purpose wasn't launching satellites. Dozens of companies do that. Their purpose was making humans a multiplanetary species. Every technology development, every cost reduction, every mission design pushed toward that single purpose. When SpaceX undercut competitors on price by 60%, they weren't trying to maximize profit. They were making space access affordable enough for eventual Mars colonization. Purpose-guided pricing strategy. But level 3, this is where the magic happens, and where most entrepreneurs completely miss the opportunity. Market purpose, the change you create in the world that's bigger than your business. Musk's market purpose was transforming humanity's relationship with energy and space, not just making his companies successful, changing entire industries, global infrastructure, even human consciousness about what's possible. Here's why this matters strategically. When your market purpose is big enough, you attract resources far beyond what normal businesses can access. Governments want to partner with you. The best engineers take pay cuts to work with you. Customers become advocates. Media provides free marketing. Investors give you capital at terms that they'd never offer other companies. But it only works if the purpose is authentic. And this is where we need to talk about the difference between real purpose and fake purpose. Now let me take you inside that December 2008 crisis moment, because the details of what actually happened reveal why the purpose principle works. Both companies are dying, but the situation is worse than anyone publicly knew. Tesla had burned through $140 million. They'd only delivered about 200 Roadsters, and half of them had serious problems. Transmissions were failing. Battery packs were catching fire. One customer's car burst into flames in his garage. The production line was shut down. Martin Eberhard, the original CEO, was forced out. Employees were quitting weekly. The remaining team was working without paychecks because the company couldn't make payroll. But here's what really happened behind closed doors. On December 3rd, 2008, Musk called an emergency board meeting. They had exactly $4 million left in the bank. At their burn rate, that meant 3 weeks until Tesla declared bankruptcy. Every investor had already refused additional funding. This was the heart of the financial crisis. Venture capital had dried up completely. Banks weren't lending. The automotive industry was getting federal bailouts just to survive. Nobody was investing in an electric car startup that had never made a profit. SpaceX's situation was somehow even worse. 3 consecutive rocket failures. Each failure cost $60 million. That's $180 million literally exploded on launch pads. But it wasn't just the money. After the 3rd failure in August 2008, half the SpaceX engineering team quit. They didn't believe it was possible anymore. The remaining engineers were traumatized. They'd worked for years on rockets that blew up on launch. Here's something most people don't know. Between those first 3 failures and the successful 4th launch, there were 72 hours where SpaceX couldn't figure out what was wrong. They'd analyzed everything, checked every system. The rocket should have worked, but something was causing failures they couldn't identify. Musk spent those 72 hours personally reviewing every line of code, every engineering specification, every supply chain component. He finally found it. A tiny timing issue in the fuel mixture during ignition. 0.2 seconds difference. That's what destroyed $180 million of rockets. Now imagine you're Musk in this moment. You've invested $100 million of your own money into SpaceX, another $70 million into Tesla. You're down to your last $40 million. Your first marriage ended partly because of the stress. Your second marriage is failing. The media is writing articles titled, "The Fall of Elon Musk." Friends are staging interventions telling you to accept reality and walk away. Any rational businessman would make a spreadsheet. Tesla is closer to profitability. They have a product people actually want. The Department of Energy loan program exists. There's a path forward. Save Tesla. Let SpaceX die. Or SpaceX has government contracts pending. NASA needs commercial partners. The technology works now. The 4th launch succeeded. Save SpaceX. Let Tesla die. Both arguments are logical. Both are defensible to investors and family. Both preserve some chance of success. But here's where the purpose principle becomes a superpower. Instead of making an emotional decision or following conventional wisdom, Musk asked one question. Which allocation best advances my North Star purpose? The answer surprised everyone. His purpose wasn't build a successful company, or prove I'm right, or make money. His purpose was ensuring humanity's long-term survival through sustainable energy and space exploration. Both companies were essential to that purpose. You can't save humanity with only electric cars. Climate change is only one existential risk. You need a backup planet. And you can't build a Mars colony without sustainable energy for the journey and for Mars itself. The purpose required both companies to survive, not for his ego, not for his bank account, for the actual mission. So Musk made the decision that Wall Street called the dumbest business move of 2008. He split the money, 20 million to Tesla, 20 million to SpaceX, keep both missions alive. His CFO quit. His remaining board members thought he'd lost his mind. His mother called him crying, begging him to save himself. But Musk had clarity that comes only from absolute commitment to purpose beyond personal success. He told his team, if we're going down trying to achieve something meaningful, not trying to salvage something from the wreckage. That's purpose under pressure. That's when you discover if your North Star is real or just marketing copy. But here's what happened next. And this is why the purpose principle works when everything else fails. 3 weeks after Musk made that split decision, on Christmas Eve 2008, NASA called. They awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to supply the International Space Station. The company was saved overnight, but this wasn't luck. This was purpose attracting opportunity. Let me show you what really happened behind that contract. NASA had a problem. The space shuttle was retiring. They needed a way to resupply the International Space Station. Traditional contractors, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, were quoting $5 billion plus. NASA's budget couldn't handle it. Then someone at NASA noticed SpaceX. Same capabilities, 60% lower cost. More importantly, a team that actually believed in advancing human space exploration, not just billing government contracts. NASA sent a team to evaluate SpaceX in October 2008, right after the successful fourth launch. What they found shocked them. Engineers working without guaranteed paychecks. A CEO who'd invested everything he owned. A team that treated every mission like it mattered for humanity's future, not just their quarterly bonus. The NASA evaluators went back and told their leadership, these people are true believers. If we don't fund them, we lose the only team that actually cares about space exploration as much as we do. That's what purpose does. It creates alignment with partners who share your values. NASA didn't just buy rockets. They bought into Musk's vision of advancing human space exploration. 2 months later, in February 2009, Tesla received a $465 million Department of Energy loan. Same pattern. The Department of Energy wasn't just funding an auto company. They were backing America's electric vehicle leadership. But here's the critical insight. Both of these opportunities only existed because Musk had kept both companies alive. If he'd chosen one over the other, the closed company would have been auctioned off to competitors. The talent would have scattered. The technology would have been buried. Purpose guided him to the only decision that could lead to this outcome. Even though it seemed irrational at the time, most entrepreneurs chase money and hope purpose follows. Musk flipped it. He chased purpose and money followed. Not because money doesn't matter, but because purpose creates the conditions where money can flow toward meaningful work. Within 5 years, Tesla was producing the Model S, changing how the world thought about electric vehicles. SpaceX was launching satellites commercially and developing reusable rockets. By 2024, Musk's companies are worth over $400 billion combined. But that's just the financial metric. The real measure of purpose, Tesla forced every major automaker to invest in electric vehicles. Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, Ford, GM, all committed billions to electrification because Tesla proved it was possible. That's market purpose working. Competition serves the mission. SpaceX reduced launch costs by 90%, reopening space exploration for commercial ventures, research organizations, and eventually civilian space travel. That's market purpose creating change bigger than one company. Now let's talk about what happens when you don't have authentic purpose, because the contrast reveals why this principle is so powerful. Let me show you 3 companies that looked like they had purpose but didn't, and how that destroyed billions in value. WeWork. Adam Neumann sold investors on a purpose: elevate the world's consciousness. They weren't renting office space. They were building a movement. The purpose sounded big. The vision was compelling. They raised $47 billion in investment. But here's what revealed the fake purpose. When times got tough, every decision prioritized Newman's personal enrichment over the stated mission. He bought buildings and leased them back to WeWork at inflated prices. He trademarked the word "we" and sold it to his own company for $6 million. He threw lavish parties while employees got laid off. Real purpose guides decisions under pressure. Fake purpose disappears when personal interest conflicts with stated mission. WeWork's valuation collapsed from $47 billion to less than $3 billion. The company that claimed to elevate consciousness became a case study in executive greed. Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes sold a purpose: democratize healthcare. Make blood testing accessible and affordable for everyone. The purpose was beautiful. The mission attracted top talent, prestigious board members, and billions in investment. But the purpose was a facade for fraud. The technology didn't work. Rather than admit this and pivot, Holmes lied to patients, investors, and regulators. When purpose is fake, you protect the appearance of success instead of serving the actual mission. Real purpose means admitting when something isn't working and changing course to better serve the mission. Fake purpose means maintaining the illusion at all costs. Holmes is now serving 11 years in prison. Theranos is a case study in how fake purpose destroys everything it touches. Compare this to Musk's approach. When Tesla's original Roadster transmission failed, they didn't hide it. They stopped production, redesigned it, and told customers the truth. When SpaceX rockets exploded, they published detailed failure reports for the entire industry to learn from. That's real purpose. Serving the mission matters more than protecting image. Here's the test for authentic purpose. Does it guide your decisions when following? It costs you money, status, or comfort. If your purpose only exists when it's convenient or profitable, it's not real purpose, it's marketing. This is why purpose-driven companies outlast and outperform purpose-washing companies. Authentic purpose creates alignment between words and actions. That alignment builds trust. Trust creates customer loyalty, employee commitment, and investor patience. These advantages compound over decades. WeWork and Theranos look successful for years, but fake purpose eventually collapses because there's no foundation. Real purpose may struggle short-term, but it creates structural advantages that become unbeatable long-term. So how do you apply the purpose principle to build your own success? Let me give you a step-by-step framework you can implement immediately. Step 1. Define your 3-level purpose. Start with personal purpose. Not what sounds impressive, what genuinely drives you beyond money. Here's the test. Imagine you already have $100 million in the bank. All financial pressure is gone. What problem would you still want to solve? What change would you still want to create? That's your personal purpose. For Musk, even with hundreds of millions from PayPal, he still wanted to solve sustainable energy and space exploration. That proved the purpose was real. If your answer changes based on your bank account, you haven't found real purpose yet. Step 2. Translate personal purpose into business purpose. Your business purpose should answer this question. What specifically changes when your business exists? Not what you do. What changes because you do it? Tesla doesn't just make cars. What changes? Transportation becomes sustainable. Energy systems shift from fossil fuels to electricity. That's business purpose. Test your business purpose with this question. If your company disappeared tomorrow, what specifically would the world lose? If the answer is just one more provider of X product, your business purpose isn't clear enough. Step 3. Expand to market purpose. What change do you want to create that's bigger than your company's success? Musk's market purpose was transforming humanity's relationship with energy and space. That's bigger than Tesla and SpaceX succeeding. Other companies making electric cars serves that purpose. Other companies exploring space serves that purpose. If you can celebrate competitors because they advance your market purpose, you found something real. If competitors just make you angry or threatened, you're focused on company success rather than market purpose. Now here's the practical application. Use purpose as your decision filter. Before saying yes to any opportunity, client, partnership, or investment, does this advance my North Star purpose? If yes, how specifically? If no, why am I considering it? This filter will make you say no to 90% of opportunities. That's the point. Purpose creates focus. Focus creates excellence. Excellence creates success. Most entrepreneurs fail because they say yes to too many things that don't advance their core purpose. They dilute their effort across opportunities that look good but don't align with their mission. Purpose prevents this strategic drift. Here's your implementation checklist. First, write your 3-level purpose statement. 1 sentence for each level. Make it specific enough to guide decisions, but inspiring enough to sustain motivation during difficult periods. Second, share it with your team, advisors, and key stakeholders. Purpose only works when it's known and can be used for accountability. If you're the only person who knows your purpose, it can't guide organizational decisions. Third, review major decisions against your purpose quarterly. Are you still aligned? Have you drifted toward convenient opportunities that don't serve the mission? Course correct immediately when you spot drift. Fourth, test for authentic purpose by examining your difficult decisions. When following your purpose cost you money or created personal hardship, did you still follow it? If not, your purpose isn't real yet. It's aspirational. Keep refining until the purpose is strong enough to guide decisions under pressure. Remember, purpose isn't about finding your passion. It's about choosing a direction that's bigger than your immediate self-interest and important enough to sustain you through the inevitable challenges of building something significant. Musk didn't start with a passion for cars or rockets. He identified problems that needed solving for humanity's future and committed to solving them regardless of personal cost. That commitment created the psychological endurance to survive 2008 and build a $400 billion empire. Now here's what I want you to do, and this is important. Think about the last major decision you made in your business or career. Write it down if you're taking notes. Was that decision driven by fear, by money, or by purpose? Be honest with yourself. Most of our decisions are driven by fear or money, and that's okay. That's where we start. But if you want to build something significant, something that lasts beyond your direct involvement, you need to develop purpose-driven decision-making. Because here's what nobody talks about. Purpose isn't just feel-good philosophy. It's practical strategy with measurable competitive advantages. When you have a North Star purpose, you make better decisions under pressure. You're not reactive to every market change or competitor move. You have a framework for evaluating opportunities that preserves your strategic focus. You attract better people. The best talent doesn't just want a paycheck. They want to work on something meaningful. Purpose is the magnet that attracts people who'll take pay cuts, work longer hours, and stay committed through difficult periods. You persist through challenges that stop everyone else. When things get hard, and they always get hard, purpose provides the psychological fuel to keep going. Musk survived 2008 because his purpose was bigger than his personal comfort or bank account. But there's something even more powerful than the purpose principle that we haven't talked about yet. In our next video, we're diving deep into the perspective strategy, how Reed Hastings used one mental framework to turn Netflix's biggest existential threat into a $240 billion opportunity. But before that video, I need you to do something. Drop a comment below with your North Star purpose. What problem are you here to solve? What impact do you want to create that extends beyond personal success? I read every single comment, and I'll respond to as many as I can. More importantly, writing down your purpose makes it real. It creates commitment. It starts the process of turning aspiration into operational reality. And if you're not sure about your purpose yet, that's okay too. Comment with the problem you keep thinking about, the thing that bothers you about your industry or the world. That problem might be your North Star purpose trying to tell you something. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're just getting started with these success framework videos. Over the next 32 videos, we're covering every principle that separates successful entrepreneurs from those who struggle despite working just as hard. Purpose, perspective, planning, positioning, problem-solving, persuasion. All 16 frameworks that build sustainable success. The next principle we're covering literally saved Netflix from becoming the next blockbuster. It's the difference between seeing change as threat versus seeing it as opportunity. It's the framework that lets you make decisions today that look insane but create enormous advantages 5 years from now. See you in the next video. And remember, your purpose doesn't need to save humanity like Musk's, but it does need to be specific enough to guide decisions and meaningful enough to sustain effort when things get difficult? What's your North Star? Tell me in the comments.